Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting as we are ready to give you some incredible Thursday night race coverage of the Stars and Stripes Next Gen Cup Series as the drivers now get ready for race number 9 here tonight as it is season 5. Crazy to think, 8 races already down, but tonight it's the Stars and Stripes 200 at the Brickyard. Indianapolis, 2 miles of these drivers trying to handle a course that's quite different from most. No other track is like it. It's built like a brick, and we're excited to see how these drivers can handle these cars that sometimes feel like one. My first here tonight, my name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Rotten Warriors going to be running productions here tonight. Zach, we got last week off, missed out on a full-length 500 laps at Bristol, but here tonight, going to be only 80 laps they have to handle here at the Brickyard.
Yeah, only 80 laps here to handle tonight at the Brickyard, but this 2.5 miles famed speedway is really going to be tough for these guys tonight, man. I tell you, I've came through a little bit of driving this car a past few weeks ago, and this balance of this fixed setup we have here on iRacing coming in tonight is very much on the looser side of things to the folks out at home. So these rear ends on these cars are going to be very much sideways kicking out, and these drivers are going to have to be fighting that wheel all night long and really trying to conserve that right rear tire. So it's going to be a handful, but it's going to take a lot here to win tonight at this famed speedway, and whoever gets it done is definitely going to deserve it.
Last time we were here back in the Xfinity cars 2 seasons ago, this track gave some incredible drama of that of Dylan Grimm finding himself into victory lane after giving a bump and a shove to get out of the way of Scott Rickard. And those drivers had quite a rivalry that went into the playoffs, but coming in here tonight, there's a lot of drivers that are coming with a lot of pressure. Like we said last week, full-length 500-lap race at Bristol, where the driver that found themselves in a victory lane was Ross Tatum, trying to go after last week's win. He's now won 2 in a row, trying to go for 3 in a row potentially here tonight after winning at Kentucky, Bristol, potentially here at Indy, as we've got ourselves a minute and 35 seconds left. I mean, Zach, the rookie class, we thought last season's rookie class with Cameron Sarton being such a threat was incredible. This season's rookie class is still, I mean, we're halfway through this regular season, and they are really starting to show up.
They definitely are, man. I mean, like you said, Ross Tatum with that really a dominant performance last week that we didn't, unfortunately, we're on vacation for it. Those guys had that full-length race. He lapped so many cars in that race and really put a dominant standpoint. And then the week before at Kentucky, went with the strategy call there with 2 tires and really made a gutsy call there to make that stick with that car, and it really worked out for him here. So we'll see what he has coming in here tonight to Indy. But I look to some other rookies. You know, we've seen other rookie success throughout the whole entire season. I look no farther than really 5th on the board there, Thomas Ogle. He's looked good all season long, really been kind of a top 5 car every single week, just hasn't been able to break through for that victory yet. And then I even look as far back as a few people, you know, a little bit of word going through the garage that Brandon Pierce is might be a driver to watch out tonight with how this car is driving. So rookies definitely looking quick, and man, there's a lot of them. It seems like every time the new class that comes in just keeps upping the game.
It just makes the field closer and closer in competition, and those that used to dominate 3 to 2 seasons ago now are starting to really have to figure out how do we hold off the newcomers. And, you know, touching more on Brandon Pierce, looking fast here tonight. He was a driver that found himself in a victory lane 3 weeks ago at Auto Club, so trying to get his 2nd win of the season. But also on Thomas Ogle, you talked about dominance last week at Bristol. Again, we didn't get to cover that broadcast as we were on vacation, like you said, Zach. He led 295 laps of the 500 last week. So missed out on a win last week, finished 3rd. But Thomas Ogle, we've seen little glimpses of speed and looking like it could be a threat. Tonight could be that night potentially, but it all starts here for qualifying. 5 minutes to put down your fastest lap, and you've only got 2 laps to do so. And Zach, like you said, you've ran a couple of laps here. Ran here in of the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series a few weeks ago. This track seemed to be almost like a mean car to even try to handle and take control of back then. Here tonight, this group of drivers, they've got to hold on.
They really do, Sam. It is tough, not only from the start, but all the way to the end. A lot of times we talk about the cold tire sensation. A lot of times you'll have that sensation of the car really wanting to be lazy and spin out on you at any moment and be very treacherous and really have to keep you on your toes at any moment. It does not change at all tonight. That stays with you throughout the whole entire run here at Indy. And you're going to see, normally we'd see that white painted line down there in each one of these four corners here at Indy. You dip that left front tire nice and low below that white line to get as low as possible to get to that apex and give you a little bit more rotation to turn these stock cars. But with how loose these race cars are tonight, you're going to see a lot of guys electing possibly to move a little bit up higher up the racetrack to save that right rear. It might not be the fastest way around like we'll see here in qualifying, but it will be the place to make your balance just that little bit more snugger. So it'll be fun to see who has that in mind coming into the race. But here in qualifying, it's all about putting down the fastest lap. So you're going to be right on the limit here, trying to get everything out of this 2.5-mile racetrack.
A driver that knows how to be fast here back in the Xfinity cars and has been fast in other vehicles as well, but only one he's gotten so far these last 2 seasons been at road courses. Scott Rickard looking to try to get him back into a dominant form. He was a champion back in season 2 when they were running in the truck series, as each season so far, there's been 5, they've ran a different vehicle, and that season 2 translated well to season 3 with a lot of wins, but wasn't able to capitalize during the playoffs. Scott Rickard's hoping to find a little bit of extra speed, and right now starting off top of the board for the 0-5.
Yeah, that first lap looking very good, but the second one there might be done for. As you've seen the huge slide out of 2 as Paul House jumps to the top of the board there to take that top time there from Scott Rickard. So great times coming in. Brandon Pierce going to slot in third with his first time, and it's going to be interesting to see, does the second lap get better, or is that first lap quicker? We'll have to see how it works out for most drivers. But right now, Paul House normally starting out back here, Sam, he's put down a great time here to put himself out front.
Yeah, Paul House, usually a driver that decides to not qualify or qualifies pretty deep in the field, which then with the raw speed that 18 usually has, usually is one of our biggest movers to go through the field and gets up to around that 15th to 12th position usually in the middle of these races, and then falls back at the end or caught up in a wreck. This is a great chance for Paul House, currently top of the board over that of Scott Rickard by almost 1/10, but 1/1000th off is Ross Tatum, who bumps up to second, just a little off of Paul House. But Brandon Pierce, second lap, puts the 38 top of the board. Is Kyle McCoy in the 7, hoping to find a little bit of extra juice, but that second lap just not fast enough. Going to be 11th so far on the board as drivers start to trickle in, but still Thomas Ogle hasn't started he just started his first lap. You also got Dylan Grimm just starting their first lap. That 83, I'm expecting some big things here on this qualifying run.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he can produce, and like we've seen so far, the pickup has been there on that second lap. So we'll see here, as this is Ogle's first attempt. Will this second lap be the lap that he gains a lot? We'll see what he puts down here for the first time by. This will be crossing the famous yard of bricks there at the moment, and it's going to be a 53.73. That right now is only going to put him in the 22nd position, but that pickup here we'll be looking for on that second lap as we jump to the 25 machine here to see what he's going to put down. Is Nate Lynch. He's always been a good qualifier, so it'll be interesting to see what Nate can put down for that second lap.
Yeah, Nate Lynch, again, was hearing this over the practice radio, 25, having a little bit of VR issues, so going to potentially have to move over to a monitor to race out, which that's a huge difference, switching back and forth between a VR system to just a monitor system. That depth of field going away from these drivers. But Zach, having to make that switch in the middle of practice right before you start a race, that is not the most optimal way to get with a transition.
Yeah, that is not very optimal for sure. I mean, if you're used to being able to turn your head and be able to look and change your vision, when you put that monitor screen in front of you, you're going to turn your head. That screen is not going to move. It's going to stick in one place. So it's definitely a lot more of a different feel, but he'll have to see what he can do here as it comes to it in there, as Brandon Pierce holds on there closely. Was starting really coming close there in the final moments.
Brandon Pierce with the quickness, able to throw it down here tonight, getting that fastest time for himself. As we take a look at our unofficial qualifying results, as here they are, top of the board, that 38 of Brandon Pierce. And Pierce, looking at the stats, this is his first pole of the season for the rookie. trying to go for his second win here tonight. Then right behind, the driver with the most poles with 3 coming into tonight. Cameron Sarton's going to be second, with Ken Campbell third. Paul House going to be fourth. Great time for the 18, with Ross Tatum, the 2-time winner, back-to-back these last 2 weeks. Going to be in fifth. Thomas Ogle's going to be in sixth. Jason Grath, seventh. Eight's going to be that of Scott Rickard. Kyle Volling's going to be in ninth. And finishing out your top 10, it's Aaron Hale in the 4.
In the 11th position, it's going to be Chris Chavez. S3 in 12th, it's going to be the 31 Trey Jackson. 13th is going to be Philip Chavez. 14th is going to go to Randy Cornwell. 15th is going to be Will Bustler. 16th is going to be defending champion Kyle McCoy. 17th is going to be Zach Kreitz. In the 18th position, it's going to go to the 54 Andrew Hess. 19th is going to be Dylan Glass. And rounding out that top 20 is the 25 Nate Lynch.
And Andrew Medlin's going to be in 21st position, with Derek Offerman 22nd. With 23rd going to be that of Joshua Robinson in the 30 machine. 24th is going to be Mike Lynch in the 2. Dylan Grimm, winner here previously. He's got a lot of work if he wants to get back into victory lane at Indy. Back in 25th, with that of Christopher Wade in 26th. That of Brian Chu in 27th. Sam Siegel in 28th. Ryan Lynch in 29th. And starting out the drivers that decided not to put a qualifying time down in 30th, it's Ryan Lynch.
And the following 4 drivers also not to put time down are Patrick Hasty in 31st, Brian Burchett 32nd, 33rd going to Martin Perry, and 34th going to Doug Pierce, as that rounds out our field tonight at the Stars and Stripes Racing.
As those are your qualifying results here tonight, big thanks to some of the amazing sponsors that helps the Stars and Stripes series, such as that of Sharp Apparel, Next Level Racing, and ButtKicker. Those are the 3 major sponsors that help out week in and week out to make sure these drivers put on the best show here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We got some other sponsors we'll talk about later on, but Zach, as the drivers are getting rolling here at the 2 miles of the Brickyard, man, what are some of the factors that you're starting to see, and as well any other information that we need to know before we get rolling here?
Well, we always talk about track position. You try to get the best one you can, best track position you can in qualifying. These drivers are going to try to utilize that the best they possibly can here, and it's so tough though. So when these drivers here are going to have to manage their tires, they're going to have to make that decision. Do they want to charge up to the front and burn their tires up, burn that right rear up, and really fall off later into the run? Or do they want to be able to charge up there, use the tire up, and hope for some caution? So it's always a decision that you got to make as a driver what to do here. But Indy, the fall off is going to be major with these Goodyear tires, with this 2.5 mile racetrack. It is upwards of 3 seconds. So it can be very detrimental if you got here and really tear your tires up. But Brandon Pierce starting out front, I think he's going to be in the prime position to really set the pace of the field and figure out who's going to really want to push that level of burning their tires up or really saving the tires for that longer run.
Yeah, and we saw with the WSSR Cup Series, that race, that fresh air was so critical for being up front and keeping yourselves out of trouble and keeping the position. But can someone else maybe save those tires and make a great charge through this field? Who's going to be aggressive in the early going? Who's going to be passive so they can have the better long run pace? Time will tell, but it's time for us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting to get ourselves ready. The Stars and Stripes Next Level Cup Series. They're ready for race number 9. We are now past the halfway marker of the regular season. It's time to get yourself clutched up and ready to make the playoffs, because tonight, race number 9, the Stars and Stripes 200 at the Brickyard is green.
And look at that right there. Nice even start, but it's actually going to be that inside lane that pulls forward here, heading down into one, as Pierce is going to clear that outside lane, but Sarton and Campbell are going to fight through the short chute down the turn 2.
Already a little bit of a shimmy back and forth plays Paul House. Not the best launch that he was hoping for, but side by side, Cameron Sarton, Ken Campbell, and Sarton on the outer groove looks good, and already major snaking by the 38, diving it immediately to that lower end, trying to break the draft, and if anything, that looked like an amazing idea for the 38 as he runs high through turns 3.
Yeah, a little bit high there in 3, so missed the line, but it still worked out there as he still got side-by-sides battles going on behind him, and that is one thing at this place here in Indianapolis. Anytime you're side-by-side, you're going to be much slower than your competition that's not, but as we say that off of 4, Ken Campbell was able to make that pass and take the second position. But again, you see Brandon Pierce up front snaking out, trying to break that draft, and that's smart, Sam. I think you need to be able to get away here early and try to break that draft, because the draft is very still powerful with this Gen 7 next-gen car.
I mean, he's over a half a second just in one lap. An incredible pace by this 38 machine to try to get away from that of Ken Campbell and Sarton. That side-by-side through 1 and 2 really is what initiated this 38 to take off and not look back, as the majority of the field already going to be single filing out. And this is the train we're expected to see here at Indy. If you watch that of the Indy cars racing the Indianapolis 500 or the Brickyard, single file racing is going to be the prominent thing to see here tonight. It's strategy and based off how you use up your tires and fuel that we're going to be seeing here tonight. 2 laps in, Brandon Pierce looking good with almost a full second over that of Ken Campbell across the line.
Yeah, and I tell you, this is so tough back here in the Hornets' nest, as they would say here, Indy. Like you said, the single file train as such is what you see here usually, Indy. It's so tough. You're in so much turbulent air here. The corners are very flat, and you're carrying so much speed, and you're trying not to burn your tires up here. You know, you're trying to most likely manage your stuff, but it's almost impossible to do it when you're in this scenario of this pack like this. It's so tough. We'll see who can get out of this pack and try to charge forward, but it's going to be a slow and patient grind for those drivers that qualified farther back in this field that have better race pace.
A majority of the field, maybe if you've gone up a position, it's gone up by 1 to 3 positions that you've really moved up. There's not a lot of huge movement going on, except for one driver that has fallen back quite a few positions. That's Joshua Robinson back in 31st position, but like you said, the Hornets' nest is where these drivers are trying to make some passes, but the rookie of the 30 of Joshua Robinson, I'm surprised by how much he's struggling right now, but it could also be a tactic. Lose all this time, save those tires, so that maybe in 3 to 4 laps, he can try to make a charge, but he's losing too much ground right now. Is the 30s, we're already on the lap 4.
Yeah, this is very interesting to see from this 30 machine. The lap times that he's turning to, I mean, 55-second laps here. This makes me question, you know, what does he feel like, you know, doing here strategy-wise? So, you know, we got word that a solo fuel run here tonight's about 37 laps. This is an 80-lap race. Does Joshua Robinson think he can one-stop this is my question.
But if you're trying to one-stop and you're giving up so much time up, is it too much time? As Aaron Hale in the 4, issue's going to be for himself on the front stretch. He's going through the sucker hole. The 4 machine did not get a good launch out of turn 4. Most likely got on that outside wall.
Yeah, some type of issue there for him. No, most likely is actually, it looks like, from going back myself and looking at it, it looks like he got some contact. So Aaron Hill luckily saved that machine. He was dead sideways off the exit of the corner, so lost a lot of positions, but it could have been a lot worse from the scenario. It could have been.
It looked like he was around that 9th place position before he got the tap and sent around. Now back to 20th. A major loss of over that of 11 positions for Aaron Hale. Now hoping to get back into the mix. As we look back here, the 31 machine, that's going to be Trey Jackson. Jackson, 18th position, down 6 spots. Again, there's a few drivers that really have lost a lot of positions. A couple of others just moved up 1 to 3. Biggest mover so far, up 7 positions. There's 2 of them. That's going to be Zach Kreitz as well as Andrew Medlin in 14.
Yeah, they're actually picking up a lot of spots. I mean, Medlin there, really great job from 21st up to 14th. He's making up a lot of ground compared to the drivers up ahead of him. Along, like you said, Kreitz there in that 17th up to the 10th position. So battles going on there behind him too, with Philip Chavez and Kyle Bowling there for the 12th spot behind this 46 machine. So really great job. They got Dylan Glass right behind him in the 16, and then there's Andrew Medlin, like we said, climbing his way on through. So there is people, like we said, it's gonna be a slow grind, and it's not like a normal track where you can gain those 5-6 positions in the matter of 3 to 4 laps. It's gonna be at least 10 to 15 laps for people to gain really considerable amounts of ground. And some of those people who gain a lot of ground, they may be using their stuff up too much, and they may start to lose some of that ground back as this one continues on.
As Zach Kreitz continues to move forward, right now right on board with 12, Andrew Medlin, 14th place. Trying to figure out how to attack Dylan Glass. Glass might be thinking about the same thing here. Is they're going to be seen side-by-side racing in front of him. That's Kyle Bowling. Ross Tatum is going in the wrong direction. That 21 just looks like he's gifting everyone who wants to try to make a pass. He's saying, oh, go on through. I'm not going to pressure you at all.
Yeah, it must be a strategy from him. This coming in here tonight with 2 wins in a row. He's got a lot of pressure taken off of him with that for sure. but still definitely trying to, probably save those tires, I'd imagine. Not really try to use them up as much as Bowling had got by him there, but still behind him, you got Chavez in the 8 there, and the 16 of Dylan Glassbound. They got also Medlin there in tow with Randy Cornwell, and then we got also number 7 Kyle McCoy there, not too far behind this group.
And they're all, I mean, this is the big thing, right? If you're going to make passes, you've got to hope that you've got drivers behind you that are recognizing it's go time and hope that the draft will pull everyone along. Dylan Glass trying to keep to the quarter panel to push up the 8 and allow the drafting help from Andrew Medlin, Cornwell, as well as that of McCoy to help on the back stretch. But right now, the 8 getting the assistance from Ross Tatum, kind of using that 21 as an anchor point to pull him through the front stretch and the back stretch, and allowing the 8 just to not give up this position to Dylan Glass or others behind.
Yeah, that draft, you've seen the power of it right there. That allowed the 8 to pull back forward, and Dylan Glass now going to have to retry to make this pass. He's got a good run out of 4 here. We'll see him get a good little draft here heading down the front straightaway. Going to look to the inside, but look at this. Also, the 8's got to run on Tatum up ahead, so it's going to stack up here heading down into 1. And the Glass almost up into the 21, and that got so close. They're going to be 3 wide possibly off of 1.
And it's going to be Andrew Medlin backing out just slightly, but Kyle McCoy going to be putting the pressure on the 12, and now going to be 3 wide exit of 2. You don't see this very often. And backing out's Ross Tatum in the 21, losing so many positions in a blink of an eye. Just lost 4 of them, and he's got another gaggle of cars that are closing in.
Yeah, and like I said, saving tires, but this is maybe a little bit too exaggerated for saving tires, in my opinion. To have to drive back around all these cars, it's going to be a tough time to give up all that time. So must be struggling at the moment for Tatum. And sometimes that's the thing, you can go out there, put a good qualifying lap down out here, and not be very comfortable in the race car. And just had found a good lap in qualifying, and just maybe doesn't feel comfortable, especially with how this thing feels. I tell you, some people may be feeling that way as you're on the 54 now, ducking to the inside and taking that position. Also there in the of Andrew Hess, and just more following through as Bustler's going to go to the inside. Possibly he's not going to get there this time, but yes, Tatum goes up. So yeah, just kind of just laying over people.
Yeah, he's just laying everyone going by, and that's going to be now 16 positions that he's just given up since qualifying. And I mean, we talked about Joshua Robinson being so off the pace. Maybe he was thinking about trying to save fuel to make it to the end. I mean, the only reason you're giving up 16 positions from where you qualified is if you burned up your tires too soon, which I didn't see Ross Tatum do anything on when I was watching him really showing signs that he's really overusing these tires. So most likely he's just going into extreme save mode because he was running the same pace as our leaders for those first 3 laps, and now thinking, oh shit, if I want to turn this race into a 1-stop, I've got to really back off and save my fuel now.
I think you probably exactly called what he's doing, Sam, there. I think he's definitely backed this pace down for saving fuel, and he's doing it a little bit differently than Joshua Robinson. He is only 4 seconds now ahead with how much he's backed the pace down here, but the thing that factors into this, yes, it's tough, is behind them, guys. It was Ryan Lynch in the 3 getting loose down there. You see him on the inside back there on the back straightaway. He had a big moment there. He's probably saying, that could have all ended very, very badly, but to the fuel mileage, it also saves some tires, man. So it could help them in the longer run to save some fuel here at the beginning of this run to make it to that 1-stop, to be able to be a little bit quicker, maybe make some of that time they lost up by saving fuel here later in the run, and then try that 1-stop. It's going to be tough to make a 1-stop work, I think, especially how far back these drivers already are from someone like Brandon Pierce up front. But you never know, it could lead to them having a very good finish nonetheless.
Well, also got to be thinking about, you touched on it, the drop-off on these tires is so massive. On top of trying to drive even slower than traditionally to save fuel, these drivers that are trying to turn this into a 1-stop, they're hoping that they're going to have a big enough gap lead. But for Pierce and others that are up front that are just on go mode, they've got to be thinking to themselves, we have to be aggressive. If we're going for a 2-stop strategy, we've got to go as fast as possible, use these tires to their fullest, so then every time we go into pit road, we're not losing too much time. We can gain it all back with how much of an advantage we're going to have on those fresh tires that they take each time.
Yeah, it will be. That is what's going to be interesting to see. And it'll make it more interesting with how much fall off this is. Normally, the one stop would always be the way to go if you can make that happen with how much fall off normally we have when it comes to racetracks. But here tonight with Indy, how much it is, that two stop, I think, is going to be probably even more viable of a mission for these guys to be able to try to get to. So we'll see how it works out. But still, Brandon Pierce out front leading the way. But I will say Cameron Sarton, he was starting to cut his way into that time as we check out Jason Gratton here, who's looking to possibly make a move here on Chris Essery here, who's kind of climbed his way up from that 11th position up to 6th.
5 positions for this 10 machine, and was the driver that made contact with that of Aaron Hale when Hale lost over 11 positions. So the 10, hoping that he can get a big enough gap over the 4, and the 4 never has an opportunity to close in on this group. But we are now 14 laps in. And Zach, I think this might be an opportune time to look at the weather for these drivers. It has been changing on the cloud coverage throughout these first 14 laps. And the big reason why is the wind speed for these drivers. The weather, certainly something to watch out for. It's mostly cloudy, but 15 miles per hour was the weather I was looking at earlier. It's now climbed to 18 miles per hour for the wind, and it's fluctuating back and forth from 15 up to almost 20 miles per hour. On top of that, the track temp is climbing. It was 104 when I saw at the start of this race. It's now up to 108. These drivers got to be careful on battling the car and the track.
Wow, that wind condition there, I didn't even catch that yet there, Sam, for myself. And that is going to throw a huge factor into this car. That could change up, you know, a lot of these guys, they practice all week long. You throw in a little bit of a 17-mile-an-hour south to southwest wind that's changing, that will throw off any little bit of practice that you had and will make you say, man, did the car just change? Is the setup different? Because that's how much of a big of a factor wind can have on these race cars. And, man, I'm sure these guys are trying to figure out what is the way to get around these corners with that wind.
The temperature won't stop rising. It's now up to 111 degrees on track temp. These drivers, if you were not saving your tires before, they're gone at this point, because if the weather track temp continues to rise at this pace, you're not going to have any grip potentially here in 5 laps.
It's very true, Sam, and I think it's only going to continue to keep doing that just due to these guys continuously running laps. I mean, it's up to 112 now as we say it, and you put 34 cars out on this racetrack. You put a hot sun here in Indianapolis, and, man, it's amazing to see that already climbing. So we'll definitely have to monitor that and see how far that does climb, because I think as long as we stay green, that number is going to just get bigger and bigger. So these drivers, like you said, that's just all going to lead to more and more tire fall off and more tire wears. There it gets up to 113. So yes, the trend continues.
5 degrees, and just us looking at the weather temp, we should probably put that down. Otherwise, we're just going to freak ourselves out even more, as we're going to move to 4th place and 3rd place position, as they're starting to get a little bit of a duel going on. That's Scott Rickard, Ken Campbell. They are side by side. Scott Rickard made this pass about that 10 laps ago. Ken Campbell said, go for it. And looking at the speed that these drivers are putting down, Ken Campbell looking quick for himself about 2 laps ago. Starting to fall off, and that dirty air that we were talking about looking like it's now hindering the 15 who saved those tires, but it might be for nothing at this point.
Yeah, this is the thing about saving tires. You know, if you give up positions to save tires, it can come back to bite you just as much as burning those tires up, because you drive up to that person with those saved tires, you get to them. If that person just doesn't make a mistake or roll over for you and they make it tough, you are going to pretty much use all that tire that you saved to get back by them. So this is one of those things as a driver. The best drivers I feel like at managing tires are the drivers that can hold people off, but also can go, you know, and manage those tires to be able to hold that person off. It's a very interesting craft that some drivers have pulled off. But man, right now, Scott Rickard definitely holding up the 15, but it's going to be tough. This dirty air just does not make it easy. And right now, with how loose these race cars are, it's tough to get a run on somebody.
As we are now marching into the realm of about halfway through this green flag cycle, until we should start to see drivers think about hitting pit road. Do want to give thanks to some of our amazing sponsors here at Freaking Fast Broadcasting. Going to give thanks to iRacing iFlag. iRacing iFlag provides the best iFlag virtual system out there. as well as they've got themselves a digital pit board. This pit board can give you so much useful information. If anything here tonight might give you scary information, such as the weather temp out there, the track temp, as well as your fuels, how many laps you have left in your fuel tank, and your average per 5 lap usage. So much great information and knowledge you can get all in one place at the iRacingIFlag.com. Go use our promo code FreakyFast2022. Go get yourself a discount today.
Seen right there at that moment, Ken Campbell makes the pass there for the third position and takes it over. But I tell you where we're going to have to lay a little bit of our attention to as Paul House is closed up to this group here for this position. It's Cameron Sarton. He is turned up the wick. Brandon Pierce, he drove out to that 2-second lead. It is no longer a 2-second lead, my friends. It is only a 2-car length lead now.
Yeah, that last lap 4/10 faster was that of Cameron Sarton, and Sarton flying here tonight. And for a driver that's already gotten one win, and that was the win at that of Richmond, a race that was kind of surprising to see. Aaron Hale thought he was going to be able to get the win, wasn't able to get it in overtime. The 4 tires too strong. And for this 94, working on the tires, but this is when it matters. It's pretty quick to catch up to a driver, but making the pass is where it seems like it's been impossible for the drivers that have been inside of our top 10.
Yeah, and he's got to make this happen quick. The longer you wait behind Brandon, the longer the tires are going to suffer here. So if Sarton can set something up here in the next few moments, going a little bit high here, trying to get a little bit of a run down the back straightaway, this may be his chance, as he does have a little bit of forward momentum. He needs to make this pass happen. The longer it waits, the longer those tires suffer. He's going to look, I think, to the inside here down to 3, but his side's better of it, just not getting close enough.
Mano y mano, just these two. Who's going to get it done? Brandon Pierce, Cameron Sarton, the Rookie of the Year last season. Brandon Pierce trying to become the Rookie of the Year this go-around, side by side. What a move by the 94. Just puts the pressure too much on that 38 and takes the lead as they hit the front stretch and across the line. New leader, new lap led. It's Cameron Sarton in the 94.
What a power move there down into 4. Made the short shoot work from 3 to 4 there and just made it stick there right on the bottom. I expect this number 94 to be able to try to stretch his legs here and try to pull away from this 38 who has, he went out there and ran really fast laps, but it seems to have really suffered for those tires as he's falling back away from his number 94 machine, and he might have to look not too far behind as it's a stack up back there from 3rd on back. Really, you got to drive the drivers from 3rd all the way to 8th of Thomas Ogle all in line.
Yeah, and they're going to be trying to slow up and try to figure out what they're going to do with the driver in front of them. Looks like 22 of Cornwell, going to be getting some fresh tires and now going to be pulling away. But Thomas Ogle closing in. I mean, this is a cluster of drivers where it's just the pass was made for Ken Campbell to get over the 0-5. Paul House has been doing a great job lingering inside of our top 5 with his great 4th place qualifying run. But now it's on the charge. Who's been saving their tires? Who's going to be putting the pressure on? And we'll look at the drivers that gave up time. It's going to be this. Thomas Ogle lost 2 positions. In theory, he would have the fresher tires of saving them. But again, catching and passing are 2 different things. And Thomas Ogle diving it down low. A very scary situation coming out of turn number 2.
Yeah, that thing just stepped away from him there, and that could have been a big moment. Luckily, he catches it and stays forward here with the progress, and now he's going to have to try to regain any time he has lost. But right here on lap 22, the 2-stop pit window is starting to come into effect. I think you can see guys really, we've already seen Cornwell hit pit road, but I think you can see a few guys literally started hitting this pit road here around lap 25, possibly even a little bit after that there to start that 2-stop phase here for these drivers who are pushing it a little bit harder.
25, I think a lot of these drivers might be thinking about lap 30, go 30, 60, and then just have a 20-lap sprint to the end instead of 25 to then do another 25-lap run and then do a 30-lap to finish it out as we move even further back. These are drivers that are battling to just get inside of our top 20. Just as relentless as the drivers battling for 3rd, it's 18th all the way back to that of 26th are in this pack.
Yeah, this is what we call the the Indy snake here. Is everybody all stacked up, drafting off of one another. And, you know, it's also some guys struggling, starting to fall back. You know, look at the 8 there, Philip Chavez. He's really starting to slide his way backwards in that 8 machine there as he gets past. As the drivers continue to move forward, as that's Ross Tatum, who lost all the positions earlier, trying to gain something back here. As there goes Wade, and also it looks like Joshua Robinson. So those drivers who may be looking to save fuel, all right here grouped up. We'll see if they can make it to that 40 mark, though, back here.
And now going to be going into pit road. Aaron Hale is going to be one of those drivers. Obviously was caught up with the mess in the slide after contact between himself and that of Chris Essery, battling for 10th place all the way back at that of lap number 6. Now the 4. Got to hope that he can get a good pit stop, get a good exit, and get back out there on track and gain any lost time for himself. But pitting this early, it's going to be hurting your last stint unless you're going to be trying to make this first pit stop and to your second pit stop the longest that it can be. But a lot of drivers got to be thinking in their mind how much this race has already changed for some of them, seeing the big movement and swing of drivers that are going for a 2-stop and those that are thinking about a 1-stop, as here comes more drivers into pit road.
Yeah, it looks like that's the 44 there of Kyle Bowling. He's going to take his car down pit road from the 9th position the last time by. Also looks like another car is the 46 is Zach Kreitz also. So on the earlier end of that pit window, and they're definitely looking to do this a little bit shorter run and maybe have that longer run at the end of the race, or maybe put it into this mid portion. So it's kind of multiple different ways you can do it, but maybe a few guys feeling they have burned their stuff up and now they need to come to pit road and get their new tires.
Mike Lynch having some fun with some new schemes out there, going with the John Deere here tonight for the 2. A very, that's always what's fun about this league, is you never know when they're going to change out their schemes. There's always the patriotic nights, there's the alternate throwback nights, but sometimes drivers just throw on their second schemes that they always enjoy putting on, and this 2 run out a new one as well behind him. Going to be seeing the 11 of Ryan Chu, who's hoping for a decent run for himself as more drivers hit pit road. Further ahead, Dylan Glass and Trey Jackson going to be the next drivers to hit pit road. As this back half of the field, I think I could say for myself, coming in tonight with how difficult this car was, just weren't sure how the back half of the field was going to be able to hold on to this car. They've done a fantastic job so far. 26 laps in, we are still green. Now, I know that puts out a little bit of a bad omen out there, Zach, but I got to say, this is already impressive that we've stayed green for this long.
It really is. This car, man, is a handful, dude. I mean, it's really, really hard to be able to keep a race like this green. It takes everybody out there, not overstepping their boundaries, and that takes a lot. There's 34 guys out there. One person usually might make a mistake here in these first couple laps, you think, but no, sir, not here in the Stars and Stripes Racing League. These guys are grade A, man. They always put up fantastic racing, and pit road, it's getting real busy right now, Sam.
Getting extremely busy, and a driver that did not want to come in for the second time, Aaron Hale, back into pit road for the 4. Going to be 2 laps down at this moment, but a big cluster of 8, almost 10 drivers hitting pit road. Ken Campbell shot that of Essery, Medlin, Grimm, Ryan Lynch. Brian Lynch as well is going to be that of Philip Chavez, all into pit road, leaving us with just that of 18 drivers still needing to come into pit road for themselves. And of those, it's got that Ross Tatum, Joshua Robinson still out there on track. The 2 drivers that were very aggressive on saving their fuel, they're mired in that of 10th and 11th place currently, and that of about 13 to 14 seconds off our leader, which some of our leaders, that of Brandon Pierce, now hitting pit road for himself.
There he goes, Brandon Pierce. Yeah, he's had enough in that second position, that 38. Used the tires up in that first run, fell back from Kevin Sarton. Now going to have to probably reevaluate his situation there here as he comes to pit road. But, man, as all these pit cycles continue to roll through, I tell you what, we got a fantastic product out there that we're sponsored by here at Freaking Fast Broadcasting that you can help get yourself to pit road and get yourself set up for that pit stop, and that is the admin box. And not only does it help get you set up for pit stops, it gives you race control at your fingertips, my friends, as it can help you, control each and every race and give out the flags for, black flags, clearing flags, any type of situation that iRacing you need to be race control. They have it on their admin box there. But also, like we said, it's got the driver functionality and the pit options too. So, Make sure you check out that admin box with its LED backlighting with its highly visible buttons there at adminbox.com, and that is adminbox with 2 X's there. So make sure you check them out and use our discount code FFB/box with 2 X's there to get that discount. So thank you to adminbox, but pit cycles continue to roll through here, Sam, man. But I tell you what, the strategies are all over the place.
There's so many different ones, and now who was leading at the time before hitting pit road? Cameron Sarton's into pit road. Jason Gratton, that of Mike Lynch, and Brian Burchett all hitting pit road for themselves to get service done. As they continue to roll in and out, we're now going to be finding ourselves with 11 drivers still to hit pit road. Scott Rickard leads the way for the 05. Then going to be the drivers that we were seeing on screen for a quick moment there. Thomas Ogle, Andrew Hess, Kyle McCoy, as well as Derek Offerman, Ross Tatum, that of Robinson, Wade, Lynch, that of Nate Lynch, then Martin Perry, Patrick Hastings, going to be the 11 drivers still need to hit pit road. And as I say that, the 05 into pit road. Same for Thomas Ogle. They get ready for their stop. A 1 of 2. They cannot make it from here.
Yeah, and it's kind of been all throughout that window, really from lap 24 now all the way to 30. We've seen drivers all doing different types of things throughout these 6 laps. But the 2 drivers that I'm watching still out there on the racetrack, they are right now in the 4th and 5th position. That'd have to be the 21 of Ross Tatum there and the 30 of Joshua Robinson. I think these 2 here, they're looking to do something similar. They definitely backed their pace up a lot at the start of this race. We'll see. Do they save enough Sunoco fuel here to make it to the end of this race with 1 stop? And is that enough time to keep them ahead? That's the question. I personally don't think so. I think the tires are going to come back around on them with how much fall off we have here tonight. But we'll have to see. They must feel this is the best way to get the best finish for themselves.
I'm also curious as we're watching more drivers trickle into pit road, that of Andrew Hess as well as Kyle McCoy now enter pit road for themselves. And leaving pit road, actually re-entering pit road, is going to be that of Dylan Grint for the 23. But for the drivers that have already come into pit road and has already made their first stops of the day, Kyle Bulling, who came into pit road 3 laps before Brandon Pierce, is leading in front of the 38, and he is holding off the 38 at the moment. Great job, and that could be the winning move of just getting the track position and utilizing that fresh air to defend everyone behind you, even though they've got a 1, 2, maybe even a 4-lap advantage on tires.
You brought it up at the very start of this race, Sam, about how valuable that clean air can be. And Kyle Bulling, he's using the most of it right now to place himself ahead of that 38. But my question also is, the 38, is he trying to maybe conserve a little bit more? We've seen how hard he went out there and pushed. I mean, it was a 2.5-second gap at one point all the way back to Sarton. This time, he's going to have to be much more methodical. Sarton waited a couple more laps. He's going to have fresher tires not only, and also had a little bit of a gap on him when he came to pit road, or at least when the 38 hit pit road. So it's going to be a tough battle between that 38 and 94 here, but the 38's got to do something different this run if he wants to have something to battle that 94.
As we're seeing right now, we're getting by other drivers, and that's going to be finding Dylan Grimm in the 23, another one of the drivers that I was noting on that had to come into pit road for the 2nd time. Was a drive through, a little bit of a quick of a hold for the 23 as he'll be back out there 2 laps down, technically 1 lap down at the moment. Still waiting for 6 drivers to hit pit road. Ross Tatum, that of Joshua Robinson, Derek Offerman, Christopher Wade, Nate Lynch, and Perry. And at this point, I would say, Zach, those 6 drivers, their only goal is to make it to the halfway zone. But what's interesting to see is that they're still having that of a 16-second gap lead overall on that of the 44 and the 38 that we see on screen.
Yeah, and that gap is going to be a little bit more interesting because, the fact of the matter is it's, that gap is shrinking with these new tires here, gaining about 2 seconds a lap at the moment here as we watch Pierce all over the back bumper with that 44 of Kyle Bulling there, trying to find his way away from that 94 of Sarton, but hasn't got his way around the 44 yet. These guys are 18 seconds back the last time they crossed the line. With these fresher tires, like I said, 2 seconds a lap, but when Ross Tatum and Joshua Robinson, Offerman, Wade, Lynch, and Perry all hit pit road here later on lap 40, they're going to have much fresher tires to gain back some time on them. And then these drivers are going to gain it back on the next stop where they have the fresh tires for the 2nd stop. it's going to be a close race at the end of the day here if we stay green. It's just going to be interesting to see which strategy does prevail.
And just like that, Brandon Pierce able to make the pass over Bowling, and that's going to be what should become our leaders at the halfway marker when we see the rest of these drivers hit pit road that are trying to make the halfway marker. But just 3 drivers back from where the 38 is where we find the driver that was the leader before the pit cycle got started. That's where we find Cameron starting in the 94, trying to figure out how to get by Dylan Grimm. Then he's got to figure out how to get by the 44, and then he's got to figure out how to get by the 38. This is going to be a tough task for that of Sarton as Grimm ducks it down low and looks like he just had a loose spot, gets out of the way, and that's one of the easiest ways to get a position. It's when they just get out of the way for yourself.
Yeah, you always like when it plays out like that, and now he's got his sights set forward here. So he's got that 44 machine of Bowling, who's pitted much more before him. As Kyle Bowling still did an excellent job in this pit phase to really be up here battling with these two who were really far out before. So Kyle Bowling there with this strategy might be able to put himself in an interesting spot. We'll see before his next pit stops transpire what plays out for him. But here already starting looking to the inside, and he's going to try to make this pass quickly because he sees that's that 38 up ahead of him. That will be the lead here when this whole pit cycle sequence is through.
And something we didn't give note to under the green flag pit stops is when you're coming out of pit road, there is a tough spot where for these drivers that are going to be trying to make a 1 pit stop strategy, they cannot make a mistake coming out of pit road, Zach, because they could easily throw this race away in an instant.
Yeah, there is a, most people call it a bump out of the exit of pit road here at Indy, but I like to call it a pothole because, man, it feels like you just don't have any front tires when you hit that thing. It just does some uncontrollable things. So you got to be very careful on the exit of pit road here at Indy. Not only there, but also on the exit, there you have to carry around the access road of turn 2. If you put a tire in the grass there, you can easily spin the car. Not only that, but also get an unsafe exit, and get a penalty. And like you said, for a 1 stop, that would completely throw your strategy out the window and ruin your race here. And starting really gaining some ground here now as we head down the back straightaway.
Going to be hit by that of Martin Perry, and you can just tell the extreme difference of a driver that was on absolutely worn and gone tires compared to those that have already come into pit road. A complete difference, and the closing rate is dangerously quick. And right now, Perry is holding off that of Bowling as well as putting him in a situation where Bowling was almost going to have to get passed by the other lap machine of Dylan Grimm, who's the first car a lap down. Excuse me, he's going to be the third car a lap down as our leaders continue to make passes on other drivers that have made mistakes under pit road. But man, those small mistakes could be costly if you're caught behind a driver that's extremely slow, as we're going through the field, seeing different battles that are going on. And I think a driver that's in my mind that I'm thinking, wow, what a run for himself. Zach Kreitz, what a fabulous job by this 46 that was one of our biggest movers before this green flag pit stop started. And right now, the 46, 11th place, but because there's 6 other drivers that still need to come into pit road, that would technically put him in 5th place currently.
Yeah, that put him right in the top 5, and you got King Campbell right behind him. I mean, that shows you the pedigree of drivers he's racing. This 15, has been probably the best car all season long, and right now is ahead of him as the 15's finally going to get a run and going to make that pass. But, this would be a net 7th place right now. So that's, a net 6th place right now. So that's really in a good position for him, is starting in that 17th position. So we'll see if he can hold on to it. He's going to have Scott Ricker trying to close in also with some fresher tires behind him there. But definitely a very, very good run for Zach Kreitz, and is in position. If this race at some point is to get a yellow, he could be in a very good position, track position-wise.
And right now, the big number to watch out for is between our 1st place driver and that other driver in 4th and 5th. Right now, the leader for Ross Tatum and Joshua Robinson are hoping that by the time that they come into pit road here in 2 to 3 laps, that they are still in ahead of that of Brandon Pierce and Cameron Sarton. If they fall behind, this strategy can go up in smoke. As into pit road, going to be a couple of drivers. Going to be that of Derek Offerman hitting pit road, and as well could be seeing other drivers further on back thinking about hitting pit road. But Offerman not able to make it to the halfway marker. 20 machine might have to make another stop. But up front, Robinson, Tatum, they're starting to get a little bit of a gap between themselves, but that difference in time, now 5 seconds between first and third.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to click down as we near towards these guys' pit stops. And like you said, they want to be ahead of them when they come to pit road. If they fall behind them, it's going to be a gloomy outcome here for them later in this race. They don't probably are going to say, man, this isn't going to be the outcome we thought playing this strategy. So unfortunate for them, but also noticing as a car went by there to unlap himself. I believe that was Paul House, I believe, in the 18. I think he might have had some mistakes for him on pit road because he at one point was in the top 5. As Robinson hits pit road this time,
That's one lap short.
Yeah, that's not going to do it.
I think Robinson, though, got to remember, he was very, very conservative in those first 5 to 8 laps and then started to ramp up his speed and caught up to Ross Tatum. Tatum was the driver that ramped it up in the first 3 laps and then dramatically backed out trying to save his fuel. So 2 completely different strategies, and for that, Joshua Robinson could have been 1, now make it 2 laps shy from making it to the end of this race for that of the 30 machine, who was first one really when we looked at it that was going for the one-stop strategy. Could be backing out, but Ross Tatum currently right now looking like coming into pit road. This is the halfway marker for himself, and he's still 3.8 seconds ahead of Cameron Sarton. He's going to go for an extra lap for the 21.
Yeah, I like this right here. This right here makes it a different scenario. The farther he can go extra here lap-wise, the harder he can go on the tires and not have to save fuel for this later run. It will make his next run a lot faster than this first run. And that's what I think Tatum's trying to play. Could he play himself into a 3rd race win in a row? I think it's going to be tough with this strategy with Sarton and Pierce already right there behind him, as Sarton has now made the pass also behind for that position on Pierce. But Tatum, he's definitely making the strategy interesting here tonight.
And now this is also going to be putting a little bit of a question mark over that of Robinson. If he's still going to be good, he's going to have to do a quick 2 to 3, maybe even 4 laps, and then back off on his pace, unless he tries to do the same strategy that he just did, as the 21 showing signs into pit road. Also going to be seeing Patrick Hastings, who's on a very similar strategy of trying to turn this race into a one-stop. Still waiting on Nate Lynch, as well as Martin Perry to hit pit road. They're expected to come in this lap, but they're deeper in the field. They're most likely going to be just trying to go for a net gain if possible, as here they come. That of Nate Lynch and that of Perry, both hitting pit road, now giving the lead to Cameron Sarton. Brandon Pierce right on top of one another as they've got Christopher Wade in their sights.
Yeah, and I tell you, with Sarton there getting by Pierce, it was a lot tougher this time. He was not able to just make that pass nice and easy, because I think Pierce was a little bit smarter. He saved his stuff. Even though, Sarton's going to have fresher tires due to the age of the tires, I think Pierce has done a good job to be able to try to save something, knowing that 94 at some point was going to come back around this run, as we watched this 15 here, King Campbell run in this 6th position.
Right in the 6th position, as we're going to get ourselves ready to go side by side. We're past halfway, ladies and gentlemen, as really this has been a spectacular race. We've been green so far. There's been no wrecks, but green-black pit stops are now done for the Stars and Stripes 200 at the Brickyard. Thanks for joining us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Do not leave just yet. We're going side by side. We'll be back in just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from the commercial break. You didn't miss a thing as we were side by side here for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series, as it's the Stars and Stripes 200 at the Brickyard. And strategy is in the minds of all drivers. We've been green all the way through, but this little gaggle of cars right next and in the middle of this field, they got to be careful. This is the battling for third, fourth, fifth, and others that are trying to get in the mix here, but this is where things get mixy. We've seen drivers set up for a 3-stop, some set up for a 2-stop strategy, and we just saw 6 to 7 drivers try a 1-stop strategy. This is when the mind games click in, because we're about to see those drivers that tried alternate strategies than just one start to hit pit road here just shortly. Welcome to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. If it's your first time, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you can get notified when we go live with every broadcast. We're live 6 days a week, and we are ready to give you the rest of the coverage here for that of the 200 at the Brickyard. My name's Sam Dyer. I've got Zach Hall with me, Robert Moyer Jr.'s running productions, and Zach, we got last week off while these drivers did the full Bristol 500 laps, but here tonight, this is looking like it's been a marathon with only that of 48 laps in.
Yeah, it definitely has, man. We've been green flag the whole way, and these cars are a handful. So these drivers right now definitely got to be feeling the effects of this race being green flag for 49 straight laps. The mental fatigue has got to start to be creeping in a little bit and starting to, you almost get blindsided as a driver sometimes with that mental fatigue where, you forget about certain crucial little things like, going the right speed down pit road, not crossing over that blue line on the exit, and that's where the mistakes start to creep in. So we'll see who can make it through this final portion of the race, but man, what a marathon it's been so far, as it's been green all the way from the start.
We're starting to see drivers start to trickle in. Like I said, we got 3 different strategies that are being thrown out. Some drivers are going with a 1-stop strategy, and leading those drivers right now is Ross Tatum in 19th position, and he is gaining about a full second each lap onto Cameron Sartre. Now, he's back in 18th spot, but if this race goes green, he's in a prime spot to try to steal this race away and try to get his 3rd win in a row. He won 2 weeks ago at Kentucky. He won last week at Bristol, and now trying to win at Indianapolis with an odd strategy, and that's how he's kind of won these last couple of races, has been going with the odd strategy from everyone else. Then we're going to be seeing some other drivers that are trying a 2-stop strategy. That's where Cameron Sarton, Brandon Pierce that are leading this race. That's where they come in. They were hoping that they could have gained enough time, but they're going to be racing the clock, the track, and everything when they come back into pit road, expected to be hitting pit road here in the next 5 to 10 laps. And you got other drivers that are doing a 3-stop. You got that of Randy Cornwell, as well as that of Zach Kreitz, who are in very odd scenarios when they're hoping that they can come to pit road one more time and just be at raw speed faster than everyone else. But this is I gotta say, Zach, so many different strategies, and I know Indy usually is a fuel or tire strategy type of race if they stay green, but this is the most wide open of strategies I've seen in a long time in a lot of different leagues.
Yeah, this is pretty wide open. You don't normally see this much variation in strategy, and that is due to really tire fall off. That's one reason personally up in the booth, I love seeing tire fall off. It really adds to the factor of strategy. It makes things like Ross Tatum's trying to do actually difficult, because normally if the tire fall off here was, say, only a second and a half to a second, like we see at some racetracks, you would not be able to make up the time there with a 2-stop strategy that some of these guys are doing. So it's very valuable to have this fall off. It gives the availability where guys can try to make the 1-stop happen, and it could be close versus a 2-stop. So it's going to be fun to watch how it all plays out. But here we go, checking out the 12 machine of Andrew Medlin. As always, here looking calm, cool, and collect. But man, this is as you can see, he's going to be working the wheel a lot here with this race car.
Yeah, working the wheel and, understanding that there's always that possible chance of seeing these drivers as, oh no, issues on pit entry. It's going to be the 31 of Trey Jackson, and this changes everything, Zach.
Well, you can throw out every little bit of strategy we were talking. It's all changed up. Everybody going to be looking to come here, I think, to pit road and get some fuel. But man, oh man, this is going to throw a big horseshoe in this race.
And looking at the incident, Trey Jackson, we're going to see the instant replay here. but a simple mistake of trying to slow down to make the pit stop. And it looks like he might have changed up that brake bias just a little bit too much based on how this 31 reacts.
Yeah, we always tend to run the brake bias in these next Gen 7 cars to the rear of the car. It seems like they have a lot of understeer, and that's what I'm seeing there. Just a lot of rear brake. They have rear brakes locked up before the front brakes did, telling me there's more rear brake in that car than front brake, and that's what equated to that little bit of a scenario. And man, oh man, if you're someone like Ross Tatum, this is something you did not want to see at all, as you gave up a lot of track position to be able to pull a strategy like this.
Ross Tatum was only able to get up to 15th position. He qualified 5th. Looked like the winning strategy was there. But now it's going to be less than 30 laps to go. And because we're less than 30, these drivers are in the good to make their one pit stop, their money stop, and then take it to the end. But Zach, this is when things get a little bit more tricky because we're inside and going to be, once they come across the line, 27 laps to go. We could see potentially drivers run about that of 10, 11 laps. And then if a caution comes out, think about making another pit stop, as majority of these drivers still have 2 sets of tires left in pit road. They were given 3 extra sets in pit road at the start of the race. Everyone's made at least 1 stop. Now, who's going to potentially think about making their second here right now?
That's a very, very valid point there, Sam. Man, those extra sets of tires are going to be very valuable if we get another caution here later in this race. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got a 10 to 15 lap run and someone else, if we got a caution, they would definitely be looking to come down and probably get themselves some tires, and possibly even after 5 with how much fall off we've seen. As you can see, pit road, a very busy place as Cameron Sarton leads them down here to get their 4 tires and fuel.
As the drivers coming into pit road to get service done, expecting all of them to take 4 tires and fuel. It gives us time to thank our final sponsor of the day, Advanced Sim Racing. Advanced Sim Racing, hey, we talked about iRacing, iFlag. They've got their 2 devices, the iFlag virtual flag system, as well as the digital pit board. Also noted on getting yourself an admin box, we got to figure out what to connect those to. Not just to your desk, get yourself a racing rig. Go to the Advanced Sim Racing. They've got themselves simulator chassis manufacturing, as well as ton of digital motorsports equipment retail to go after. Steering wheels, racing monitors for your got monitor stands for your monitors, as well as plenty of other incredible equipment to get you set up to go become one of the best iRacers out there. If you're looking for a place to start, go to Advanced Sim Racing. Go use our promo code FreakyFast for 5% off. As drivers get off of pit road, one driver felt about getting a little frisky and risky here. It's Derek Offerman staying out while everyone else hits pit road.
Definitely a little risky there, call from that 20 machine, man. We'll see what it equates to him for, but the race off of pit road, I think, was very, very interesting. Also, as Brandon Pierce there came down second, he did beat Cameron Sarton off, and also Scott Rickard, he came off second, so it's going to be third for Sarton here on this restart, which we'll see if he's able to get by Rickard quickly to be able to challenge Pierce. But man, this is Pierce's chance here to change up that very start of this race. You know, they had the tire difference there from the second run on, and it really wasn't ever going to probably play out in Pierce's favor, but now the tires are equal, dead even. Can Brandon Pierce do a little bit different than he did that first run of not getting away as far and be able to hold this group off?
He's kind of hoping for a good run potentially here as drivers getting ready to get stacked up and ready to go. There's one driver I kind of want to talk to, and that's a driver who had a driver cam. That's going to be Andrew Medlin in the 12. He's in 12th place, and I want to get a sense of how he's feeling about this restart. He's much deeper in the field, but working around where other drivers are at, as we're going to be pulling in the 12 machine up into the booth. We got ourselves Andrew Medlin. Andrew, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
I got a copy. You guys got me?
We got you. You're stuck in the middle of the field. We've seen how bad Dirty Air's been, but man, how has the car been for you yourself here tonight?
I'll tell you what, probably like a lot of these other guys, I'm struggling though. I'm just leaning on that right rear too much. It's really loose, tough to get out of turn 2, but hey, we're under caution for my teammate spinning there coming into the pits, but I think a lot of us appreciated getting some new tires on, and we'll duke it out here with, 26 to go.
Yeah, Andrew, I tell you what, man, it's been fun to watch you all night. How has been the management of those tires? How tough is it to manage that right where you said it's been very, very tough, but how are you trying to do that?
It is. I mean, a track like this and this kind of downforce package, you got to be really easy on the throttle. I have a really heavy right foot, so it's been a struggle for me to be delicate, but I'm trying my best, and hopefully we'll pick up a few spots here before the checker waves.
We're hoping for that. Good luck, Andrew, as we'll let you get focused on this restart.
Appreciate it, boys.
As that was the 12 machine of Andrew Medlin, now going to be starting up in that 12th place, hoping for a great restart. But up front, the driver to watch out for, Derek Offerman. He's going to be on 16-lap older tires than the rest of the field. Can the 20 hold off, or will he be trapped in just banking on a yellow? Time will tell. Green flag is out in the air for the Stars and Stripes 200 at the Brickyard as they go charging down into turn number 1.
And it's a little bit of a stack up here. Is now Esri going to jump to the top side here of Rickard, as the 20 machine definitely holding them up, as it's going to put Scott Rickard in the outside line now into that third position, as Derek Hoffman just holding the bottom lane as everybody looks to go by.
Eric Offerman's going to be in a tricky spot now into the backstretch. Everyone's going to be utilizing the draft the best that they can, and it's going to be that of Ken Campbell stuck behind the 20, cannot get back up front. But for the lead, it's Brandon Pierce, that of Cameron Sartin. They're going to be on top of one another, and Sartin almost thinking about using the bumper there to 3.
Yeah, that was some close action right there between that group of drivers. But man, the 44 Bolin looking to get by Offerman there, as Offerman in 20 continues to drop back through this field. That's 6 positions in just a matter of 1 lap. That shows you how valuable Goodyear tires are here at this Indianapolis Speedway. But up front, Sartin still trying to put pressure on as that group back there around the 12 machine of Andrew Medley here. As we look back to them, they're really starting to stack up.
Yeah, right on board the 7 of Kyle McCoy, looking back at Andrew Medlin as well as Andrew Hess, the talk to the 12 machine. And man, it is difficult to figure out how to get by this field, but the 12 has done it. 2 drivers in 2 laps. He's now trying to close in and try to utilize the draft the best that he can, but right now in front of the 7, he's got to bob and weave because he's got Derek Offerman now in front of him.
Yeah, this is going to stack it up even more. What does the 12 look to do here? Andrew Medlin might be stuck here in this position behind the 20. Does he look to stick it in there and make it 3 wide? No, he does not. Thinks better of it. That could have gotten very detrimental. Now he's going to try to push this 20 down the straightaway and hopefully clear. That 56 as Ogle goes to the inside. It's going to be 3 wide, as that was 2 wide as the 12 crosses back over.
2, 3, make your decision on where you want to go, but right now it's all about getting by the 20. That's why we got to keep our eyes on where Derek Offerman is. Again, 16 laps, older tires than the rest of the field, and you're seeing the difference in closing rate and the fact that this is just accordioning through the rest of the field. We're only in 10th place for the 20, but there is still a major gaggle of cars, and it's hurting the rest of the field back battling for 20th now with how much this field continues to stack up on top of one another.
Yeah, this is time being lost that they do not want to lose to their competition up ahead. It's so tough to run up to somebody and catch them because you got to use those tires to make up that time, and you don't want to be able to do that. You want to be able to manage, and you can just see this is a gaggle of cars up ahead of this 24 machine of Brian Lynch.
And there's Brian Lynch trying to figure out snaking, picking, what lane to be in, as it's going to be Andrew Hess stuck on the outside with the 20, utilizing the draft to keep themselves side by side. Thomas Ogle now going to be able to get by, but right on board with this of Lynch, kind of getting a sense. Ryan Lynch and everyone else, they're just trying to figure what lane is going to have the better run, and then they're going to be trying to make that pass. And I think everyone's recognizing, just get by the 20 as fast as possible, and you're going to be all right. Utilize the draft, get your run, and then get out of there.
Yeah, Andrew Hess has been the one who's gotten stuck behind that 20 on the outside for multiple laps now. Luckily, he lifts and actually plays a very smart game of dropping all the way behind the 24 here of Brian Lynch and now getting to that bottom lane. And man, that's got to be so tough to go all those positions and lift and let him by. But he knows in the end game of things, it's probably going to help him here. Is it's a pretty much conveyor belt back to the very back of this field on that outside groove stuck behind the 20.
It just continues to go backwards, and really it's from that. This group was all the way in 10th place, back to 28th was the back of the line, and Andrew Hess finally able to duck down below that of the 20 and get into that inner groove. Now it's going to be Dylan Glass that's stuck on the outside as everyone's still bobbing and weaving. This cluster of drivers, if we're going to see another yellow, this is going to be the spot to see it. And if another yellow comes out, if they run for another 5 to 6 laps and then a yellow strikes, it's going to put everyone in position where they might think about coming into pit road and take that final set of tires.
Oh man, Philip Chavez there in the 8th. He dropped back very quickly there on the outside, as I think he sees that 20 Offerman. He knows that this is going to be an unfortunate position unless he gets down low. He's trying to find the spots, because that 20 is dropping like a rock.
Dropping like a rock, and he continues to have to be careful where he goes. As here comes that Grimes as well. It's going to be that of 33 of Burchett, trying to pick where they want to place themselves. An inside line where they've been the most comfortable. A driver further on and back. First driver to call it a night potentially here from a disconnect from the server. That's going to be Patrick Hasty, as it's going to be seen that of Kreitz almost looping it, and do not want to touch that grass, especially in the short chute when you're trying to get through these corners.
Oh, no, sir, you do not indeed, as he's going to have Cornwell all over the back bumper now, heading down the back straightaway. But you got the stack up top there of the 20 of Offerman on the older tires here, as Kreitz tries to drive it in deep there. He slides up the hill. This is just stacking everything up more and more, as you got Christopher Wade, Trey Jackson coming into the picture, as more drivers around this 25th to 24th to 23rd position all just stack up on top of each other.
They're on top of one another, and they just cannot get away. And this is back for 20th now. We've been watching the Derek Offerman just downfall from up in the lead, who decided to stay out on that last pit stop, to now all the way mired to 23rd position. And it only took 5 laps. That's how fast you could be looping it and losing it just by being on old tires. And now the 20's got to be hoping that he doesn't lose any more ground as we go up front for the lead and for 3rd place, battling all around. And it's Chris Chavez Essery in the number 10. Had woes in the first 6 laps of this race, now up to 3rd.
Yeah, man, he's really been really good this race, as he's slowly climbed his way up from that 11th starting spot and has really gained his way up, as he's got his teammate up ahead of him, Cameron Sarton. But I tell you what, this time, Brandon Pierce, he's been smart. He has not left 1/10 of a second off that front bumper of that 94. I think he's had the plan to park that car right in front of this 94 machine and just try to manage his stuff more. You know, this is going to be his chance. If he learned anything from that first run about how he can manage his car better, he's going to be applying it on this run right here. It's going to be tougher than ever for this 94 to try to get back to this lead.
Yeah, if you missed that first run in the first 20 to 30 laps of this race, Brandon Pierce took the lead immediately and just pulled out to almost a 2.5-3 second lead over Cameron Sarton. And then in the final about 10 laps before green flag pit stop started, closed in immediately, made the pass with ease, and then just pulled away for the 94. So big switch up here by that of Pierce. And I think also got to be also thinking of the fact that he didn't get the launch that he did on that first start of the race. That first start, it was a lot of side-by-side racing between Cameron Sarton and Ken Campbell. They just could not get away from one another in that first lap. This go-around, Pierce had to wait on the 20 to take off, and then Cameron Sarton was on his bumper from the start on this run.
Yeah, he really has been right on the bumper the whole entire run. So this is going to be a little bit of a different scenario. Normally, we've had that gap that Sarton's had to, overcome. But this here is probably a more preferable position for the 38. You're putting the dirty air on that 94. He's having to worry about the drivers behind him and the runs coming from behind. He's having to manage his positions also. It really makes it a lot tougher on that second driver when they got someone stacked up behind him like that in the 10. But luckily for Sarton's case, it is his teammate who's going to play, I think, a little bit more nice and try to help that 94 more than a normal driver would.
Yeah, just trying to figure out how to be as useful as possible, if you can, as they continue to race on. A driver that is just slowly and kind of demoralizingly moving through the field. Ross Tatum up to 10th place. Joshua Robinson up to 16th. As those were the two drivers that were in a spot where if the race had stayed green all the way through. They could have turned this race into a one-stop and changed everything and shook how those front runners would have been driving this race. Now, he's mired back in 10th and has lost the draft completely to this lead group.
Yeah, they're about 2 seconds off that group up ahead of him with Jason Bratton in that 8th position. So, yeah, Tatum, you know, it all went away with that caution. It definitely is not what he wanted to see. He wanted to see this race go green all the way to the end, where he would have had a chance to really see how that strategy played out. Now he's having to push this car to the fullest extent that he really hasn't had to do tonight. So, you know, he doesn't know the full extent to how his car is going to fall off, how it's going to be managed, how he's going to work this run. That is one thing about, you know, going out there saving fuel and saving tires. It can actually, you know, hurt you for learning later in this race. As we check out the battle here with Robinson, also one of the other drivers who look to stretch it here. He's trying to make his way up forward.
Trying to get up to 15th place, side by side with Ryan Lynch, and Lynch just not giving it up on having the drafting help on the backstretch by staying on that outside lane. But can he hold off into turns 3 and 4? Looks like he will be able to clear over the 30 machine. 15 laps to go, coming to 14 to go. Let's take our final look at the weather. We saw it dramatically changing in the first quarter of this race. It looked almost still as terrifying as the cars were on track, but now looking a little bit nicer on the track temp. It was climbed up to 118 degrees of the track temp at one moment. It's now down to 105, but the wind speed, it's still looking terrifying. 21 degrees, 21 miles per hour to 22 miles per hour, and it continues to climb as we watch the battling for 15th on screen. But Zach, the cloud coverage certainly helping the track temp, but the wind means that these clouds may not be staying for very long.
Yeah, that's pretty windy there, man. I've seen it hit all the way upwards of 25, as it actually does right there. Now hitting up the 26 mile an hour of wind. That is mind blowing to see that much wind here already. And you know, with how much cloud coverage we got and how shadowy and dark the track is, that is what is really leading to this cooling down effect of this track. And that's very well going to change things also for Brandon Pierce and Cameron Sarton, our leaders up front, who've been battling all day. It's going to change how their cars are going to drive. It's going to change how they want to save their tires and who has the more preferable method. So could it switch hands here late in the going as this track continues to put more and more rubber down and get colder and colder as this cloud coverage sticks over this racetrack?
Just trying to figure out how to make their way through this race. It's been crazy. It's been wild. As you see the 20, he's back here, and I'd be wondering, did he just go a lap down? He did. Derek Offerman came into pit road under green flag racing. Currently the second car, 1 lap down. He's trying to catch up to the 4 of Aaron Hale, who was just ahead, who came into pit road as well under green flag racing 8 laps ago. But it looks like the 20 going to be trying to become that first driver a lap down. So if we do get a yellow, get back on the lucky dog. But a lot of these drivers now, 13 laps to go. It's on. Who is gonna get the win here tonight for the Stars and Stripes 200 at the Brickyard? The Stars and Stripes Cup Series has been incredible this season. This is the 9th race of the season. Right now, Brandon Pierce trying to go for his 2nd win of the season potentially here. And what a way to get it done by himself. Got the pole award, trying to go for that coast to coast. As it really, looking at this field right now, been seeing a couple of drivers really getting loose out of turn 2 here, Zach, and I think it could be the fact that they aren't thinking about saving fuel or tires anymore, and that over-aggression could be backfiring here with coming up to 11 laps to go.
Yeah, it really could. And I mean, if you look right here, this track getting a little bit more light to it as those clouds tend to roll away. It seems like the front half of this track got a little bit of cloud coverage, the back half doesn't, so that's going to change everything up here. And I've definitely been seeing a few guys start to lose that rear end here with 11 to go. And right now, anybody in our top 5, it's all game for them, as we got King Campbell here 5th, Scott Rickard 4th, Chris Essery in that 3rd spot, but it's Cameron Sarton still putting the pressure on that 38 machine, who still, it's been a 1 to 2/10 of a second gap pretty much every single lap of this run. Can Pierce hold the pressure off here in the final 11 and do a little bit better job of managing it will be the question. But Sarton all night long has been the best car on the long run.
Yeah, Sarton's been better on the long run, but this is the first time that he's had to be this close on top of someone for this long on equal, tire stints on when they came in pit road. That freshness level at the same exact spot when they started this run, and now it's really the question on Cameron Sarton of, can he force a mistake to the rookie of Brandon Pierce, or is Pierce just going to be that solid where he's not going to be giving up any time, going to keep on keeping this 38 as smooth as possible? And as well, you got to hit your marks. Each and every corner, 4 very distinct corners, very similar on how you have to attack them. But Zach, I mean, that's the big thing. Just one mistake on one corner could throw away this lead.
Oh, no doubt, Sam. I mean, I tell you what, the exits of 4 and turn 2 are so detrimental here at this Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You think getting into 1 and getting into turn 3 here would be the spots that you want to be really, really good. Yeah, it's nice to be fast there, but if you don't get out of turn 4 and out of turn 2, you don't have the speed out of these straightaways, and this is where Sarton is going to set him up. A little bit loose from the 38. Big run from the 94. He has to check up just a little bit there not to run him over, but he's going to be to the inside here as they cross the yard of bricks with 9 laps to go.
9 laps to go, and just like this, Cameron Sarton found that mistake, found the opportunity. Now going to be diving down low into turn number 1, sliding just a little bit on the exit of 1. Pierce going to have the advantage, holds it steady, and now into turn 2, where it really matters. Running a little bit too high for my liking, but Pierce, here comes that surge out of turn 2.
Great job by the 38 to fight it off, but here's the 94. He's got a little bit maybe better of a run, but it's not going to get to the outside as the 38 does cover it off. Great job by Brandon Pierce here to hold station here with 9 to go. It's going to be coming to 8 to go. Sarton, every time he goes and tries to make that move now, it's going to get tougher and tougher each time, and we've seen already that car is not as bad as it was earlier in this race and not as easy to make the pass there for the 94, but again, another wiggle off of 4 for the 38.
And really for Brandon Pierce, you see some drivers will they'll make one mistake. That's the only mistake you're going to make in a stint. And other drivers, you make one mistake and it just snowballs from there. And that's the question for Pierce. Is this going to continue to snowball and get worse every single time he exits out of 4? Or can he finally stabilize this 38 machine? And for Cameron Sarton, he's got to be thinking and almost kicking himself, was that my one and only opportunity to make this pass on the 38 machine? As they snake it down the backstretch, weaving up, down, all over this track, trying to break the draft as the 38 down into turn number 3. And Chris Chavez-Essery, who qualified back in 11th, made some contact with drivers earlier on and has been slowly, methodically making a pass through this field. The 10 now in a position potentially to make a move as drivers further on back. Issues for the 18, Paul House. Bad exit at turn 2. He's off the racing surface. No yellow will come out, but here comes another chance for the lead.
Yeah, Sarton back to the inside. The 38 was a little high there in turn 4 and missed the corner. Sarton now going to try to dive the inside here. Can he make this stick? The car's getting tight there on that entry. Here comes the 10 from behind. He's going to have the big run. He is teammates with that 94. If the 94 can stay side by side, he might have the help of a teammate here coming off the corner. But the 38 holds on, but he gets a little loose. Now the 94 to the outside. This is the moment he wants Sam here as they head down the back straightaway.
You thought it was going to be one mistake? No, it's a complete snowball and meltdown for the 38 machine, from an opportunity to win to now just hoping he falls into the top 3 spots, because here comes Chavez-Essery. Chris Chavez-Essery, that 10 machine, trying to clear, and he might get it done out of turn number 4 as Cameron Sarton, who sat and waited, coming at 6 laps to go, is trying to pull away.
What a job by him to get it done, but I tell you what, the 38 can't look too far behind. Here comes Rickard, and here comes Campbell, along with that 20 Offerman, who is on the newer tires. There's a lap down car. This could get a little bit sticky.
Last lap, it was Ken Campbell in the 15th. He's back in 5th. It looks very improbable for himself to get this done, but was the fastest driver by 2/10. Then the next closest driver on speed was Brandon Pierce, even with his issues. I mean, he was a full second off, than our leader. He's got to find a little bit of extra speed, but that 15's looking good if he can get a good surge as the 05 helps out that of Pierce. Brandon Pierce isn't done just yet, but he's got a lot of work to get done if he wants to catch up to that of Cameron Sarton. 5 laps to go when they cross the line.
There's a battle for the lucky dog behind him with Aaron Hill and Derek Offerman. This is getting a little crazy. Battling for the lead, battling for the lucky dog. Anything can happen here in the final 5 laps here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I tell you what, S3, big mistake last lap there. Out of 2, got into the wall. That allowed Pierce and Rickard to go by. Now, who's going to have a shot here to the top 3 as it's Cameron Sarton trying to drive away?
Cameron Sargent over a half a second over that of Brandon Pierce, but he's got to hope that he pulls away but doesn't overuse these tires. If he's too aggressive in these first 2 laps with 5 to go, he can give an opportunity to the 38. But again, we've already seen those rear tires for Brandon Pierce. They are warm, they're toasty, and they are not sticking the way that they used to just that of 20 laps ago. Now it's all on how well did you preserve those tires for this run, this moment, because behind them, Derek Hoffman and Aaron Hale, they might bring out a yellow with how aggressive they're racing just to try to get that lucky dog spot, which if they wreck, that's going to give Dylan Grimm the lucky dog spot.
Yeah, exactly. If you get involved in the incident, you are not in that lucky dog position. So those two got to be careful. Even though they know they're battling for that spot, they cannot use each other up to make that yellow happen. So the 20 and the 4 deal with single filed out now after racing there, but man, they definitely are hoping for a yellow, but at the same time, not wanting to be the yellow.
Looking back, there's some drivers that are faster than our leader, but they're too far back in the middle of the field. Cameron Sargent, based off the top 5, top 6 that are in this lead pack, he is still about a tenth faster than anyone else. 2 tenths faster than other drivers in this group. This is all Cameron Sargent right now, coming to 3 laps to go. The only thing that could spoil Cameron Sargent and getting this thing done is going to be a yellow.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Sam. He is just on cruise control mode here as we check back in here. It's Ogle and our defending champion, Kyle McCoy, who's had a quiet night, worked his way up this 7th. That'll be a good finish there from McCoy, who really has had a tough night, really into the top, trying to break his way all the way up into this top 15, top 10 here.
Another lap down, and it's even faster than the lap before. Cameron Sargent is now 3 tenths faster than the drivers behind him. He just somehow has that little bit of extra oomph in the car than everyone else. 3 laps to go, and it is all on the line of who's going to make the pass. Now it's turned into who's going to get the leader to who's going to get 3rd place. As Scott Rickard's got to be careful. The 10 of that of Chris Essery trying to put the pressure on, but the 10 is going backwards.
Yeah, the 10 having some trouble right now is he's got Ken Campbell with him all stacked up behind him. And
yellow flag. Trey Jackson again, going to be the 31 on the back stretch. But this go around with a lot of drivers, heavy, aggressive racing, and this, Zach, puts us in overtime.
This is not what Cameron Sargent wanted to see. No, sir, not one indeed. Is we go back to this freaky fast replay here, Sam. I think you're going to see a mistake here, possibly between these two here as they come off the exit of 2. I think that 33 here, as you're going to see, he's going to wash up this racetrack and right into that wall as the 31 gets into the back bumper. Just a racing incident that's going to bring out our yellow here.
And that's a hard angle to hit for the 31. Luckily, this is on the virtual side of things because that could have been a nasty collision if this was on the real side. And for Trey Jackson, he's going to roll away, but heavily damaged and will be done, not able to finish out tonight's evening. But Zach, the interesting rules, the last couple of seasons, there's been a lot of talks on how you want to change up over time. Do you want to junk up most of the field, or do you want to make it one last hurrah? And for this season, it's only 1 overtime attempt, 1 restart, and 1 opportunity to figure out who's going to win this race. And now the question lies, Cameron Sargent, will he get the launch? But first, decision time. Who goes into pit road to grab that last set of tires, and who doesn't?
Oh, there's so many decisions to be made. The 94, he's a sitting duck here with any decision he makes. He's going to look to stay out. Brandon Pierce is going to bring him down. Looks like Scott Rickard's going to stay out. It's going to be Essery and not many others. There's now a bunch of people coming now as they continue to funnel in.
It's everyone, usually further on back, you take tires because you're just like, I'm too far back. But when you see a big cluster of about 10 to 12 drivers ahead of you coming to pit road, you think, you know what, maybe I'll stay out and have a better shot. And for Brandon Pierce, I think his opportunity to go for the win is out the window because he's going to be now mired back to potentially back to 13th now with how many drivers decide to stay out.
I tell you, the new tires are going to be valuable, but I don't think they'll be that valuable. So it's going to be an interesting feat to see Sargent right here in position up front. He's going to be in a good spot still here with this only being 1 green-white checker. If we had multiple ones, he would definitely be a worrisome fellow right now. But I think right now he's got to be feeling pretty confident where these guys are going to come out position-wise compared to them and play out, because those new tires, they're going to be trying to come through. And it's interesting to see, did anybody play any strategy with tires back there and maybe take two?
Looking through the field, there's a couple that took two. Jason Gratton, Andrew Medlin, as well as Brian Lynch, and also Brian Chu, all taking two tires, which for those that took two tires, of that Jason Gratton able to move up to 14th position, that of around third of those that decided to come into pit road on this go around. He gained about that of 3 spots for himself of those that came in, but overall losing a lot of positions because 11 drivers decided to stay out. Here's how the rules work for overtime. You got 2 laps. We go green. If you make it to the white flag and 1 lap to go, we race it to the end. If we do not get to that white flag and we get a yellow before then, this race finishes under yellow. And Zach, I'm looking at some of these drivers that decided to stay out. I don't feel confident that we're going to stay green to the white flag. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I don't feel the most confident either here, Sam, with how this is going to play out, especially a few guys on 2 tires. We've seen it's a very loose race car. When you throw those 2 right side tires on that car, it's going to make it a little bit even more loose. So they're going to have to be prepared for that. I mean, you know, it's a gutsy call back here where these guys are at to see if they're going to try to drive themselves up in the position. But Pierce being all the way back in 12th, restart on that outside line, this is going to be a tall task here, even to get, I think, back to the top 3.
Yeah, and 10 drivers that stayed out, looking promising, try to gain as many positions as possible. And then you got that of Martin Perry in 11th, who's on the oldest of tires. He's been out there, did the 1 stop, and is going to stick to the 1 stop, hoping that these yellow pacing laps will allow him to stretch it out all the way to the end. Guts call from the 69, trying to do everything he can for a net gain. But up front, Cameron Sarton, Scott Rickard, Ken Campbell, that of Kyle Bowling, Andrew Hess, Ross Tatum, Dylan Glass, that of Joshua Robinson, Sam Siegel, and Zach Kreitz, all hoping for the best run possible for themselves. Cameron Sarton, I mean, if he can get a good launch, this race looks to be his. We saw that for the WSSR Cup Series a few weeks back on Saturday nights. They ran here, same car, same track, a little bit different weather conditions, but it was all about the launch that got the win for that of Brian Johnson back then. For these drivers, again, similar kind of strategy. Get the best launch you can and see what happened. The weather conditions for this restart, 87 degrees is the ambient temperature, 112 is going to be that of the track temp. The wind, it's climbing, and you better get up on your feet because this is the one and only overtime attempt. Who's winning here at Indy? Let's find out. Pace car is off. Your iRacing I flag yellow is off. It's time to go green flag racing. Cameron Sarton, a great launch. No one's even close. And Zach, that is absolutely what the 94 needed.
That is exactly what he needed, Sam, as he fires out of turn 1. He's going to have Scott Rickard pretty close as Ken Campbell in the top 3 get all single filed out, but it's going to be back here where everything is going to be transpiring. The new tires going to be trying to fire their way through, but how fast can Brandon Pierce do it? He looks to the inside of Kreitz, down the back straightaway, but only going to have a lap and a half to go here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I don't think it's enough time for this 38.
No, he's going to be on the inside. He's going to be boxed in and stuff, but they're going to be 2 wide, 2, 3, almost 4 in other places throughout this field. Up front, it's going to be that of Cameron Sarton, but Scott Rickard's closing in. Needs this race to stay green. If it does, Scott Rickard's got an opportunity. He's closing in as they're coming down through the stretch. It's your freaky fast white flag. They made it somehow. And Zach, it was the 05, lost this race after getting bumped and run out of the way on turn 3. Will it be his opportunity for redemption? It's a different driver in front of him, but a race that Scott Rickard wants back.
Oh, and he gets into the wall out of 1, and that's going to take any chance away from him. It's now Campbell and him side by side. It's going to stack it up. Here comes Hess in the 56. Here comes Pierce in the 38. Also out of no way down the back straight away.
Pierce is going to be 7/10 back. Is it too far? 3 wide, gets the shove. The 10 is pushing him. It's going to be 7-6. He needs the better run. He's not going to get it. Chris Ensori's going to throw it down low. 1 more corner. If they get a massive surge, they might be able to catch him. It's a little bit too far back. The side drafting's too strong. Cameron Sarton out of turn number 4. He's hoping the draft doesn't kick in. Here they come. Coming to the 94. Across the line. It's Cameron Sarton getting it done.
What a finish, and they're wrecking big back there behind. I tell you what, Brandon Pierce and Chris Essery did a lot more than we thought. They made it super close, but Sarton pulls it off.
Somehow, out of nowhere, you see them coming out of turn number 2. They were mired back in that 12th and 13th position, carving their way, being patient, wanting to see the white flag. It came, but they were so close. That of 1/10 off, about 2 car lengths away from passing that 94. But Zach, when they entered turn 3, they were about 3/4 of a second behind that 94 and closed in like a rocket ship. If there was one more lap, Sarton was not winning this, and that's why we only needed 1 attempt in overtime. Cameron Sarton, winner of the Stars and Stripes 200 at the Brickyard.
I am speechless, Sam. I tell you what, I think if Brandon Pierce didn't miss that corner there in 3 coming down the back straightaway, he was clear of that 10. If he didn't miss that, they might not have been side by side for that side draft in action and through the corner. It might have been a different story, but Sarton here going to burn it down here at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Oh, he got that rubber back 30 laps ago, and now it's time to burn it all the way down to nothing. He is loving it. Cameron Sarton gets it done here tonight. The second win of the season for the 94. His second overtime win of the season. He did back at Richmond. He does it here tonight. He had the fresher tires back at Richmond. Yeah, the older ones here tonight. Congratulations to Cameron Sarton. We're going to take a quick break. Calm down. I need a couple of deep breaths to come back from. But when we come back, it's the post-race show. We got our top 3. That of Chris Essery, Brandon Pierce, Cameron Sarton will be talking to us up in the booth as we finish out the call here tonight at Indianapolis. We'll be back in just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. I've got myself, Sam Dyer. We got Zach Hall. We've also got Robert Moyer running productions in the background. And what a finish. Overtime. One attempt. That was all the drivers were going to be given. And it was spectacular seeing the drivers battling it out, trying to get up front. But it was Cameron Sarton who got the best restart possible, had a big enough gap lead, and beat out the heavy hitters behind him. But before we talk to our top three and get their thoughts on that wild start for themselves, we got to talk to a driver that was our biggest mover of the day. It's the three machine of Ryan Lynch. As we bring in Ryan up in the booth. Ryan, congratulations. You were the biggest mover of the day. But man, how are you feeling after this 83 lap run?
Feeling pretty lucky to get that last caution. I think that's what kind of got me at least, like, I don't know, 15 of those spots. But felt like I was moving forward all day, but really the tires at the end and a couple of lucky breaks. I don't know why, but I was the only one I felt like around me that was downshifting into fourth when we were going in 3 and 4 wide into the corners, and it worked.
Yeah, I tell you what, Ryan, that was a wild ride there at the end, man. Restarting around the 23rd position and getting all the way back up there to 9th, man. So congrats on that ride back up there on the new tires. You know, tires were such a big thing here tonight. How was it trying to manage those tires here in Indianapolis?
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of just avoiding spins, and if you're gonna hot lap 5 or 6 laps in a row, you were gonna get in trouble. It was more about managing the temperature, I think, than the actual wear and tear, as long as you don't slide. But not missing a corner is the key at Indy. It always is, and if you start getting the lane up, then you're gonna get in trouble.
Well, Ryan, congratulations again on being our biggest mover of the night. Before we let you go, though, the floor is yours for any shout-outs. Ryan, you there? I think. Now we got you now, Ryan.
You got me now?
We got you now.
Okay, yeah, I just we'll shout out you guys at Freaky Fast. You guys do an awesome job every week. And then, Sharp Apparel and, the sponsor for the race here is the league. So, shout out Nate and everyone else who kind of helps run it.
That's going to be Ryan Lynch in the 3. Congratulations on a 9th place finish and being our biggest mover of the day. As we go from our biggest mover, we go to 3rd place finisher, that of Chris Essery, who came away with an incredible run in that of the 10 machine. Chris, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. Man, what was going through your mind trying to prepare for that one and only overtime attempt?
I don't even know what was going through my mind, honestly. I knew we were going to be way faster. I was just afraid that my line on that restart was going to check up too much. That's really what I was worried about.
Yeah, I tell you, Chris, that was an excellent job to navigate through there, man. Take us into the seat there at around turn 3 and 4. Did you think you had any chance there in 3? Because you guys were a decent way back still, but with the pace of those new tires, do you think if you guys weren't side by side, it would have been a better shot there to get your teammate?
Yeah, when we went, I think it was 3 wide, 2 rows down the back straight. Without that, if we could have got by him quicker, I think we would have had a shot at Cam. But yeah, and then coming out of the corner, Cam stayed high for Brandon instead of me, and I didn't get that draft. But that was a lot of fun in the race.
It was a blast for us to call overall. I mean, we got to see you really work your way to get up. Final question for you, Chris. We saw you make contact with Aaron earlier in the run, but how was it trying to carve your way through? Because you seemed like after that contact with the 4, you were being super slow, methodical, and just always found yourself closing in on the top 5 and then top 3, and then was that factor at the end.
Yeah, I mean, this FR Graphics Toyota Camry was absolute beast today. Those guys gave me a great car. I hated that I got into Aaron. That's my guy. I felt horrible all race, but there was just different strategies, I think, early on, and there was a lot of guys in front of me that were saving for the long run, and I was just going. And then after I got by him, it was just free sailing for me. I felt really good towards that first pit stop. I was like, oh, okay, I might actually have a shot at this at the end if I can get a caution. I ended up push Cam to the lead, had 2nd place, and then I hit the wall, getting tied out of 2. But then we got that last green white checker, and I just followed Brandon to the end.
Well, Chris, it was incredible for us to watch up at the booth. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Shout out to my team, McLevin Motorsports. Shout out to sponsor FR Graphics. Those guys are awesome. Shout out to my grandparents watching at home, my mom watching, and and my kids Liam and Lincoln.
That's going to be Chris Essery coming away with a third place finish here tonight. Congratulations on that, and good luck getting into next week.
Thank you, guys.
As we head from third place, we go to second, where a driver thought he was about to steal this one away. We got that of Brandon Pierce up in the booth. Brandon, it's Sam and Zach with you. Man, you certainly thought that you were going to be the winner at a lot of during this race, but I was asked the same question to Chris. What was going through your mind setting up on that restart, being in 12th position?
Get a good run out of 2. Get as many cars as you could down the backstretch. Be on the inside for 3, and just drive the absolute hell out of it and see where I ended up. Unfortunately, I blew 3 there on the final lap, trying to stay ahead of Chris, trying to be the late breaker, and missed the grip. And relegated me to second. I think I might have had a shot if I would have hit that corner a little bit better, but is what it is. Second place. I'm pretty happy with that. Cam definitely had the car to beat all night. I had a little bit on the short run, but he just did better keeping that car under him and being able to drive it smooth and comfortably and have that long run pace.
Yeah, Brandon, I tell you what, man, that was a valiant effort to get yourself all the way back up there to the second position. And like you said there, just unfortunately missing that third corner there to be able to have that shot there to possibly get that victory, man. But yeah, you kind of brought up, Cam was very, very quick tonight on those long runs. And we saw the very first run of the race, you went out there, pulled about a 2.5-second lead, and it slowly started to trickle down as he caught you and pulled you in. Did you change your management as the night went on and changed how you were trying to save those Goodyear tires?
Yeah, so I just took off flying in the first stage. Burn them up, Cam caught me. So the second run, I decided I was going to take it a bit easier, try to save tires, and I thought the car felt worse. So the third run we had, I just went back to running it how I wanted to run it and wheel up at the end when the right rear tire gave up. And I felt like that was faster for me. Personally, but a lot of guys did real well saving the car, keeping the balance where they needed it to run fast, and they did a better job than me, and that's why they're in victory lane.
I mean, I got to say, Brandon, you've been showing out this season, looking fantastic from our point of view, just watching, rookies always develop and come in. You never know what they're going to bring, but you've been one of the star rookies coming up of the top 3. How are you feeling for the rest of the season? We got 6 more races to go before the playoff action kicks off. How are you feeling for these next 6 races that are coming up? And do you feel like you can carry the momentum that you've been showing out these last few weeks, continue into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think we're still building momentum, learning how to drive these fixed sets effectively, start to finish. Having another run, up front with, one of the better cars definitely builds the confidence. I feel like I can run with these guys, feel like I can beat these guys. So confidence is high here headed into the end of the season.
Well, Brandon, a complete amazing run. Almost was able to come away with the picture perfect finish. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yep, shout out to Triad Racing Enterprises, Susan Media, Stint Analyzer, big sponsors, all the guys on the team putting in the work, helping me be a better driver. The admins for running a great league here, and you guys for broadcasting and letting us do what we do.
Thanks for giving us the most fantastic show to cover. That's Brandon Pierce in the 38 machine coming away with second place. Congratulations on that, and good luck heading to Gateway next week.
Thank you.
As we go from second place, we go to victory lane for the driver that we get to talk to for the second time in victory lane this season. We got Cameron Sargent in the 94 machine. Cameron, how are you feeling after that one? Because for us, I thought I was about to pass out commentating that madness at the end.
I feel good. For some reason, with this league, when I have a lead blade, I just feel like a caution's coming. I did last year at Phoenix, done a couple other times, so I just kind of assumed it, and it came out, and I was pretty livid, and I thought it was gonna. And me and Chase Elliott resemblance this week have been a little nuts, but I thought if I pit, everybody else was gonna stay out, and there was no chance. And if I stayed out, everybody else was gonna pit, and luckily there's a nice little gap in the field, and it saved me a lot because it was nerve-wracking. I thought I was good, on a back straight, and then I saw a bright yellow car coming screaming. I was like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me!" So the main goal is to get a good turnout of 4, which I did. And if I got a little loose out of 4, I think Chris or Pierce had me. But whew, it's nerve-wracking. These things are never easy in this league.
No, they definitely aren't, Cameron, man. I'd tell you congrats on getting another victory here, second this season, man. So really cool to see you put it back in victory lane here in the 94, man. Yeah, it seemed like all night you had the upper advantage on that long run, man. Take us through that, because it just seemed you could keep the balance under you a little bit better than the rest of the field.
Yeah, the cars. I mean, when they'll fix setups loose, they're so much fun to drive in my eyes, and it's just easier to kind of make passes, and it's all about saving that right rear, especially off of turn 2. That was a danger zone. If you could spin out pretty easily if you gunned it too early. So that was the main goal, saving those first 15, 20 laps, and then just kind of manage it from there on out. And Pierce is usually really good with loose steps, so I was surprised I caught him and passed him kind of with ease those couple runs and pulled away like I did. I didn't think I knew I was strong, but I didn't think I was that strong. So thankfully it played out. But they're a lot of fun. Loose race cars are always fun in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Cam, we got to see the first half of this season, a lot of variety on where the tracks we're going to. We're now going to a pretty good stint of a lot of more short tracks that we're heading towards. How are you feeling about this upcoming run after showing out these first 9 races? You've gotten already 2 wins.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I was really strong at Gateway last season. I don't know about Rockingham. We'll find that out. But really strong at Gateway. Should have won. Kind of let Chris win that. It's okay. You got to get into playoffs. Won Phoenix and won Richmond earlier this year. So I feel good. It's I like the car. If it's kind of a hit or miss on some tracks. I was terrible at Kentucky, where I'm usually good at some other cars in this game. So it depends on every week. It's kind of the first time I've raced these things throughout all these tracks, so it's a little practice here and there. And if you're comfortable with it, you can gain a lot of ground on some people and make that 10th place car a top 3 if you kind of find that hidden feature somewhere in the track. So I feel good. It's good momentum, and another top 3 from Chris. So good team points today.
It was incredible to watch there, Cam, and congratulations on the win. Before we let you go, though, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out to mom, dad, grandparents watching. Gave them a good week so far. Y'all guys broadcasting, always all good. So I have to go watch that back. If you said you're out of breath, that makes it pretty interesting. But shout out to McLovin, Disney, Mickey Mouse, McDonald's, everybody in the shop, and we'll try and go back to back here, Gateway, and rest up. So I need like a fan in here. I keep sweating way too much, but maybe it's good for me. Shed a couple pounds, but appreciate y'all, and see you Tuesday and Thursday.
We'll see you in these upcoming races. That is your winner here tonight, Cameron, starting in the 94. Congratulations on your win here at Indy, and good luck heading to Gateway next week.
Appreciate it, boys. Have a good weekend.
As that, we go from victory lane, we go to look at our unofficial results, but what a wild finish to this thing. Our top 3 under a blanket of one another almost saw the incredible catch and pass by Brandon Pierce, but it comes up just a little bit shy as Cameron Stark gets himself into victory lane, winning his 2nd race of the season. Pierce is going to be taking 2nd, with that of Chris Essery in 3rd. Ken Gamble, great recovery for himself, going to be in 4th place with Andrew Hess. Great run up 5th out of 13 positions, part of the group that decided to stay out with as well. Scott Rickard staying out in 6th. Rickard really lost a lot of positions, not the best launch on that restart, and just could never get his footing. With Andrew Medlin in 7th, 8th goes to Kyle McCoy. Didn't really get to talk about Kyle that much here tonight, but stayed under the radar and gets top 10 to finish. With Ryan Lynch going to be in 9th, our biggest mover of the day, finishing our top 10. It's going to be that of Christopher Wade. But Zach, we'll look at the rest of the field. I mean, you think of Ross Tatum, if no yellow came out, this 21 was looking poised to figure out how to win this race.
Yeah, I mean, that 11th place finish, he's going to be looking back at that and saying, man, this could have been maybe a 3rd win in a row. So, unfortunate for him, the strategy didn't play out. Same for Joshua Robinson there in 12th, but it was a few other guys who had tough nights. Kreitz finishing 25th and who was running up good up front all night, along with Ogle in 27th. So a lot of tough things for some guys out there, Sam. But man, this handful of a car, I'm not surprised some guys had some tough nights. But it was this 94 who had the brightest night of them all.
I mean, it really did. Over time, this league, only one attempt is given to these drivers. And what a charge it was getting to see that of Brandon Pierce and Chris Essery at the end. But before we get done with tonight, I mean, Zach, we're going to Gateway next week. And also for tonight, what are some of your final thoughts before we get to our calling ourselves the end of the night?
Well, man, final thoughts here from Indy, first of all, is just an excellent race, man. A lot of people say this place shouldn't have a stock car NASCAR race around the oval. I kind of disagree with that. This just proves right here that you got a lot of tire fall off. It throws a lot of strategies into things. I think it's a great racetrack, and Sarton definitely is gonna have to enjoy this one because it might be the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but it's still winning at Indianapolis. It definitely means something for somebody at the end of the day. So great race here tonight, and going off to Gateway next week. I don't know what to expect. Personally, Gateway there's been all types of different races in all of my time of calling races there. You could have anything from a lot of wrecks to a completely green race. I mean, these guys here always seem somewhat to keep it clean, so I wouldn't be surprised heading into Gateway. We have a lot of green flag racing and some interesting ones at that, as track position and passing is going to be very vital.
Going to be important on how well you can qualify, and it's going to be a good one for sure. But for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we just had the beginning of the week becoming a lot of road course racing. We then had Indy, that was kind of our middle ground, and now we go to the big boy track, Super Speedway Racing. We get tomorrow off, get to rest our voices, get prepared, because we are going to have some of the most intense racing coming up Saturday. It's the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series heading to Daytona Super Speedway, and as well, the 802 Next Gen Cup Series on Sunday is going to Talladega. Zach, Super Speedway weekend is now in front of us.
That it is, Sam. Super Speedway weekend is, it's always a time to really get those interesting races where you have drivers that might not be the favorites coming in week and week out. They might show out at them super speedways, where it gives you a little bit more chance as a driver not only to make moves but try to make something big happen and go for those victories. So we'll see what names can show out there, and who can really survive the chaos of the super speedway.
And I'll wait to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting as well. With that of the WSSR, it starts off our 6 days in a row. Like we said, we got our Super Speedway weekend. Then Monday, we got the ISRC Truck Series. Tuesday, it's the Full Send Racing League. Then Wednesday, it's Wicked Racing. And guess what? We're right back here next week. It's Gateway for the Gateway 150. Can't wait for that one. Will we see another driver become a multi-time winner like we just saw Cameron Sarton do here tonight? Or will we see a newcomer come and blossom at the end of that race? Time will tell, and we'll give you the coverage here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But for tonight, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, Robert Moyer, and everyone else that helps out here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thanks for joining us. What a wild one it was. Overtime, one attempt, and Cameron Sarton held off the fresher tires of Brandon Pierce and that of Chris Essery to find himself into victory lane. Well, thank you again for joining us here tonight. Hopefully we'll see you sometime throughout this week, and if we don't, we'll see you next week at Gateway. And have a good one, everyone. We'll see you on our next broadcast.